Hi everyone, here's some of what's heading your way tonight to your news at 9.
Proposed legislation in Missouri would increase the age to purchase tobacco products to 21, bringing it up to par with the federal law. I'm Zach Dodge with what else the bill would do and why some are opposing it. Coming up.
Also, some law enforcement workers got crisis intervention training and reminders today.
Columbus police are vowing transparency in the wake of a shooting death of an Ohio teen. I'm Garrett Tenney. I've got the details coming up.
Doug Heddy is weather. Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. An Arma, Kansas man pleads no contest to charges alleging he stabbed his wife to death and injured her grandmother. 34-year-old Jeremy Delmarco pleaded no contest to second-degree murder and attempted murder in connection with the 2019 homicide. In February of that year, authorities say 84-year-old Dorma LaMaster called police to report that Delmarco was assaulting her granddaughter. When deputies arrived, they found the two victims seriously injured. Delmarco's wife, Brandy Delmarco, later died at a hospital. Sentencing is set for June. In December of 2019, the federal age limit to purchase tobacco products was increased from 18 to 21. According to the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, 30 states have adopted this increase, but that does not include Missouri. Now, legislators are working to change that. KOAM's Zach Dodge has a story.
For the last year and a half, no one under the age of 21 has been able to legally purchase tobacco products. So passing a law to raise the age in Missouri to 21 would seem kind of redundant, right?
We thought it was easiest for us to pass it as a state level to ensure that all municipalities across the state are 21, and also to provide some consistency.
Representative Dan Shaw, who's sponsoring a bill to raise the age, says after Tobacco 21 passed, they saw municipalities across the state trying to mirror the federal law. But that created a patchwork system that he says can be confusing to customers and store owners.
The states have to adopt this language. If they don't, then they lose out on funding.
A.J. Mole with Missouri Smoke Free, a nonprofit that pushes for tobacco harm reduction, supports the bill, saying it's simple legislation that makes sense all the way around.
It's a non-issue. I mean, this issue is done and over.
The bill would also make it so local governments can't enact local legislation related to tobacco and couldn't add new taxes. All of that would have to be done at the state level. That's something the American Heart Association is opposing.
So we know, number one, that Missouri is not a one-size-fits-all state. And local governments are the closest to their communities, and they know what's best, and they work with and in their own communities.
It's a complete level playing field across the state, basically echoing what the people of the state of Missouri have said time and time again.
Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Today, the bill was passed through the Committee on Downsizing State Government. It has to go through the Rules Committee still before going to the full House. Looks like another chilly night in store for us. Meteorologist Doug Heddy joining us now.
Yeah, not quite as cold as what we had last night, thankfully, as we dipped down to 28 degrees. So that set a new record. The old record was 30, set back in 1966. A little bit warmer this afternoon as we did make it up to 55, but still well shy of where we should be for this time of the year. And then again, tonight we got frost and freeze advisories in effect as our temperature is going to dip down right around the freezing point by the time we head into the morning hours. But besides that, we look okay. We have pretty much clear skies. Some clouds are starting to increase back toward the west. So Jordan, of course, we got to look at our next storm system coming in here, and we're going to do that in about 10 minutes.
All right, Doug, we'll see you a little bit. Thank you so much. Groundbreaking ceremony last week marked the beginning of construction on the future home of Dover Hill Elementary. It's named for the hill on which it's being built, Dover Hill. But a group of Joplinites want it to be named in honor of a groundbreaking poet and activist, Joplin-born Langston Hughes. And last night, the school board meeting, the Langston Hughes Cultural Society asked the board to change the name from Dover Hill Elementary to Langston Hughes Elementary. The board did not vote, however, on the request because it wasn't on last night's agenda. Several area law enforcement agencies today brushed up on their crisis intervention training. The Ozarks Center in Joplin hosted classes for officers to train to handle different situations. Those situations include suicidal intervention, substance abuse, veterans issues, and more. The course is a week long, with today's sessions focusing on de-escalation techniques.
We get calls for it every single day. And I will tell you that I can just see from my experience, whenever the COVID lockdowns started, our mental health calls went up, and they've stayed up. They have not gone back down. There's not a day goes by where we don't get a call dealing with someone having suicidal thoughts or having some a mental crisis issue.
Officers must complete 40 hours of training to pass the course. Authorities in Columbus, Ohio, vowing full transparency in the wake of police killing 16-year-old Ma'Khia Bryant. The deadly incident prompting protests and stirring reactions as it unfolded around the same time former officer Derek Chauvin was convicted in George Floyd's death. Fox News correspondent Garrett Tenney has details, and we want to warn you, this video is disturbing.
Outrage over the police killing of Ma'Khia Bryant, the 16-year-old girl shot by a Columbus, Ohio officer after she charged at two people with a knife in her hand. The entire incident, which was caught on body camera, happened minutes before the Derek Chauvin verdict was delivered. Authorities on Wednesday released video from multiple officers' body cameras in an effort for full transparency, while also saying it's important to wait for the facts.
Under any circumstances, that is a horrendous tragedy. But the video shows that there is more to this. And though it's not easy, wait for the facts as determined by an independent investigation.
Columbus's mayor agrees facts will determine the outcome.
BCI will determine if the officer involved was wrong. And if he was, we will hold him accountable.
Police were dispatched to a home Tuesday afternoon following this 911 phone call.
Grown girls over here trying to fight us, trying to stop us, trying to put our hands on our grandma. Get here now!
The body camera video shows officers arriving to a commotion in the driveway when Bryant started swinging what appears to be a knife at another girl who falls down. Bryant then charges another woman at the scene, putting her against a car and raising her hand with a knife in it.
Get down! Get down!
Bryant fell to the ground. A black-handled knife similar to a kitchen knife was on the ground near her. She was taken to a local hospital where she was pronounced dead. An independent investigation into the officer's use of deadly force is now underway. In Chicago, I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox News.
Policing practices in Minneapolis are now the focus of a new investigation by the Justice Department. The announcement coming after that murder conviction in the death of George Floyd. Fox News correspondent Blanchard has more.
The Minneapolis Police Department now faces a civil investigation 1 day after the verdict in the trial of former officer Derek Chauvin.
Good officers do not want to work in systems that allow bad practices.
Attorney General MERRICK Garland announcing a federal probe into policing practices in Minneapolis Wednesday. The DOJ was already investigating whether the officers involved in George Floyd's death had violated his civil rights. Now it will look at the entire department to see if there is a pattern of unconstitutional or unlawful policing.
The investigation I am announcing today will assess whether the Minneapolis Police Department engages in a pattern or practice of using excessive force, including during protests. The investigation will also assess whether the MPD engages in discriminatory conduct.
The announcement comes 1 day after former officer Derek Chauvin was convicted of murder and manslaughter in the death of George Floyd. Chauvin was booked into a Minnesota state prison Tuesday where he'll await sentencing. Prosecutors have argued several factors warrant a harsher sentence, including that children were present when the crime was committed and that Chauvin abused his authority as a police officer. Chauvin's attorneys have 60 days to notify the trial court if they plan to appeal Tuesday's conviction.
I think they knew what was going to happen in this case. Probably prepared for it.
The DOJ says it could bring a lawsuit against the Minneapolis Police Department if it finds a pattern of unconstitutional policing. In Minneapolis, Blanchard, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor one of our four-state heroes. Donald Denny served in the U.S. Army from 1943 to 51. Native of Parsons, Kansas, Denny was stationed in Korea during World War II, earning several awards. We are proud to thank and salute Platoon Sergeant Donald Denny, tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's up next with a complete look at the forecast. And later in sports, the LAMAR Tigers raising their state championship trophy and getting their rings today.
Well, it turned out to be a little bit warmer for us today after a cold start. Hard freeze last night as we dipped back to 28 degrees, but quite a bit of sunshine today. We had those cumulus clouds kind of popping up during the afternoon. And it looks like, again, for us tonight, we're going to see frost across the region as temperatures drop back right around freezing. Once again, nice time lapse. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. All right, 55 today, but we should be at 72. Tomorrow, a little bit better, 59. But again, our average high is 72 degrees. So it would be nice if we start to warm back up, and finally we will as we head into the weekend and also next week. 42 in Nevada, 46 in Parsons, 46 in Miami, 45 in Neosho, and we do have the frost and freeze advisories in effect. Once again for us tonight, most of the viewing areas, our temperatures dip back right around freezing once again. But you can see a few clouds starting to increase on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. And this is what we're going to see, this trend. Partly cloudy skies tonight, but the clouds really thickening up out to our west due to our next storm system out across the central parts of the Rockies. This system is going to head toward us over the next 24 to 48 hours. You can see it right out across western parts of Utah, and it's going to spin out into the central plains. All right, for us tonight, partly cloudy, temps near freezing. So again, the plants need to be covered up or brought inside once again. Clouds increase all day long tomorrow. Here's 4:30 in the afternoon. Temperature's not bad, but still chilly for this time of the year. 33 to start, 53 by noon. High temp near 60, south winds 5 to 10. Also look, showers start to increase as we head into the evening hours. We'll get a band of showers that roll through prior to midnight. A little bit of a lull after midnight, then they increase again by the time we head into Friday morning. And then Friday, it's just periods of rain. By Friday afternoon, it's periods of showers and thunderstorms. Some of these could pack a punch. I think our severe threat's pretty low, but we could definitely get some strong storms, some very heavy amounts of rain. So here's Friday evening. Another big batch rolls through Friday night, and then most of this should be gone by the time we head into Saturday morning. But rainfall amounts, pretty impressive as well. And some of those heavier bands, we could pick up 1, 2, maybe even isolated 3-inch amounts. So a very wet system, which is going to roll in. It rolls out. Most of the weekend looks good. Sunday into the mid-70s. Monday near 80. Then here comes our next storm system. This is next Tuesday. Showers, thunderstorms, and a pretty decent severe threat with this system by next Tuesday. So that's something we want to keep our eyes on over the next couple days. All right, 59 for us tomorrow, 64 on Friday, 63 Saturday, and then Sunday and Monday look great. Thunderstorm chances on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Taking a little time, Jordan. I know that you're light by 50. So if we look at the storm systems coming up, you can see low, moderate, high threat for severe weather. Moderate threat next Tuesday, and then it really increases next weekend. So the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. The 7th looks high. Then the 3rd week, we kind of downgrade just a bit. And then the 18th and 20th are pretty high threat. So kind of mapping it out. Of course, we're heading into the most volatile month of the year around here.
Unfortunately. So one more night tonight.
Then we should be done.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, we may make kind of close late next week, but it should be it.
Good. All right, man, we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you so much. Coming up, what is being called a giant leap in COVID-19 vaccination efforts?
President Biden announces a vaccine milestone and more incentives for Americans to get their shots. I'm David Lee Miller in New York. The details coming up.
Daily oral hygiene to reduce plaque buildup could help lessen the development of lung disease associated with severe COVID-19. That's according to a study in the Journal of Oral Medicine and Dental Research. Researchers found the virus can move directly from the mouth into the bloodstream, particularly in people with gum disease. Jasper County Health Department reports another COVID-19 related death. This time they say the patient was a woman in her 80s. The latest death brings the county's total to 155. Mercy Hospital is accepting COVID-19 vaccine walk-ins for the rest of this week. The hospital has ample supply, wants to get to as many people as they can to get vaccinated as possible to avoid waste. The hospital is administering first doses of the Pfizer vaccine. Again, these are first dose vaccinations only. You can also schedule a vaccine appointment on Mercy's website. You can find a link to that website on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. President Biden announcing a major COVID vaccination milestone and even more incentives for you to go get your shots. Fox News correspondent David Lee Miller has more now from New York.
It was a target that seemed impossible at first. After developing COVID vaccines in record time, the U.S. is now on track to administer its 200th million shot on Thursday, significantly ahead of the 100-day goal set by the White House. And now President Biden wants to make it even easier for Americans to get vaccinated, calling on all employers to provide paid time off for workers to get their shots.
No working American should lose a single dollar from their paycheck because they chose to fulfill their patriotic duty of getting vaccinated.
As the program expands, it's still unclear if the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will be an option. It remains on hold in the U.S. while regulators investigate a series of rare blood clots. But a growing number of doctors are calling on the CDC and FDA to reverse that decision, pointing out the chance of getting a blood clot related to the vaccine is less than 1 in a million.
I think it was a good idea and the ethically right thing to do to pause it temporarily. The FDA does this every single day. Make a decision, get it back on the market. It's an important tool.
There's also a big push to combat vaccine hesitancy among younger people as a new surge in cases intensifies. Some teens say they're looking forward to getting the shot, while others say they'll wait until their parents give the green light.
I'm just happy to get in with everyone else.
My mom listens to the good things and she listens to the bad things, and then at the end of the day she leans towards the bad things.
President Biden today announced a tax credit for small businesses to cover the cost of paid leave for vaccinations. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
Just ahead, a sheriff's deputy in Florida turning a routine traffic stop into a moment of healing for a man dealing with grief. During a routine traffic stop, a deputy in Florida took the time to comfort a man who had recently suffered a great loss. Fox's Catherine Hawley spoke with the deputy about the different aspects of serving the community and how they're all equally important.
How are you today?
A proactive patrol on Dale Mabry Highway focused on motorcycle safety.
You okay? It's just a traffic stop, my man.
Shows a different meaning to the oath, serve and protect.
As soon as I got out of my vehicle and I started walking up to the gentleman, I could hear him very emotional. He was already very emotional.
It's a side of the job Master Deputy Donald Reiser says happens more than you would think.
So my friend got in front of me. That's okay, we'll take your helmet off for a second. Was he on a bike? Where at?
It's St. Pete.
St. Pete? Couple days ago. Here, take your helmet off so you can breathe, man.
In his nearly 16 years on the force, Reiser tells us his focus is always on having empathy for everyone he encounters and really trying to help.
It's not just about stopping people, giving people tickets. I mean, you have to be a social worker in this job too. You have to wear many different hats and be able to take one off and put the other one on really quickly. And clearly he shouldn't be riding a motorcycle in that state. I'm glad I stopped you if you're emotional like that. When you get a chance to talk to people, you know, that can help you. It really can, because I don't want to see anybody down on a motorcycle.
Oh, you're the first person I actually talked to.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Lending an ear and giving support, because that's what the man needed.
So I just took a few minutes to talk to him and noticed that he still really wasn't doing very well, so I did something I really never do. That's a warning for the exhaust. This is the checklist I told you about. Just read it, familiarize yourself. Now, that's my personal cell phone number if you ever need to talk. All right?
The man hasn't called yet, but Reiser says he's ready to listen if the phone ever rings. Catherine Hawley, Fox 13 News.
A new study says if you want your kids to eat really healthy foods, just keep sending them to school. More on this we're going to explain when we come back. Turns out school cafeteria lunches are some of the best foods for our kids. According to a recent study by Tufts University, 24% of meals, only 24% of meals, consumed by kids in schools were rated poor in health quality. Researchers analyzed all meals consumed by Americans over 16 years, ending with 2018. That's the most recent year the data is available. The least nutritional food came from restaurants, where 65% of adult meals and a whopping 80% of kids' meals were unhealthy. Entertainment venues and food trucks fared a little better than restaurants. In those, 44% of adult meals, 52% of children's meals were considered unhealthy. Our oldest son, Dylan, absolutely just loves his school meals made at school in the cafeteria. So, thank you, cafeteria workers. Awesome job. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Going to check out a free, family-friendly way some folks in Joplin enjoyed the outdoors.
The World Health Organization sounding the alarm as new global cases of COVID-19 surpass 5 million. I'm Kevin Cork in Washington with more on which countries are seeing a real surge and how Americans are faring in the race to achieve herd immunity. That's coming up.
Missouri Governor Mike Parsons spoke virtually to this year's Missouri Chamber of Commerce Workforce 2030 conference. The governor noted continued strong economic recovery from COVID-19. Said Missouri has recovered about 70% of jobs that were lost, and the unemployment rate has dropped to 4.2%. According to the governor, Missouri is now 11th in the nation for business site selection. Governor Parsons said the road to 2030 is going to be paved with workforce development and investing in infrastructure. If you're a four-state bicycle enthusiast who's looking to make some new friends in a relaxed environment, you're in luck. The slow roll bike rides have returned to Joplin after being canceled in 2020 because of the pandemic. This year, the Bike Joplin group is hoping to have 2 slow roll rides a month where anyone and everyone with a bike or scooter can take a leisurely ride through various parts of Joplin while stopping at shops and other sites with fellow riders.
The whole idea is to actually explore your city. So we're taking people, young and old, to go into different venues, coffee shops, restaurants, and rediscover your city.
I needed to see if my bike could still roll because I hadn't been on it in quite a while. Just with the pandemic, kind of stuck at home and stuck at work a lot. Didn't have the opportunity to get out as much as I'd like, and so I need to get back in shape and thought this would be a great way to do it.
Slow rolls are open to people of all ages, although minors must be accompanied by a parent or guardian. If you'd like to get involved in the next slow roll, check out Bike Joplin's Facebook page. There's a link to it in this article on KOAMnewsnow.com. Pittsburgh High School theater students today premiered their latest social issue play. We checked out their rehearsal of Fine this afternoon. The play focuses on mental health issues and how to recognize them in your friends.
Then you may have students that on the surface tell everybody they're fine, but underneath they're crumbling and falling. And so that's kind of running through. There's a lot of dialogue where the word fine is thrown out a lot. And so that's what this play shows, that the lead character is the most popular kid in high school, but he is not handling it.
PHS has been doing these important social issues plays ever since 2008. Crackdown on robocalls. The FCC launching a database that all voice providers will have to use. It's going to allow the government to track the work some companies are doing to try and stop those robocalls. Starting in September, phone companies will be required to block incoming traffic that is not listed in their database. Senior White House official says the president will pledge to cut greenhouse gas emissions in half by 2030. The news coming as the president is set to chat virtually with 40 world leaders tomorrow on Earth Day in a meeting aimed at combating climate change. The new target would double the nation's previous commitment. Vaccine rollout continues, but it's not stopping health authorities from urging caution as new global COVID-19 cases are reaching dangerous heights. Fox News correspondent Kevin Cork reports.
Across the country and the world, new COVID-19 cases and deaths are starting to surge. In the U.S., health officials say more people are getting vaccinated, but younger segments of the population, which haven't received the shots, are highly susceptible to catching and transmitting the virus.
Cases and hospitalizations are increasing in some areas of the country, and cases among younger people who have not yet been vaccinated are also increasing.
Overseas, government officials in India are threatening new lockdowns as cases continue to soar, with authorities recording roughly 130,000 new cases in just one day.
Till a few weeks ago, the situation was in control, and then the second wave of coronavirus has come like a storm.
Meanwhile, Brazil is now reporting more than 4,000 new deaths in 24 hours. This global rise in infections is sparking conversation about vaccine inequity.
It is completely unethical that high-income countries are now vaccinating young and healthy people if that happens at the expense of people in risk groups and on the front lines in low and middle-income countries.
Back in the U.S., now that every adult 16 years and up qualifies for the shots, The CDC says it should be everyone's top priority. And this is certainly good news. Federal officials say more than 90% of all Americans now live within 5 miles of a vaccine site. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
A bit later, getting ready to get away.
Millions of Americans are ready for a vacation. I'm Danya Backus with a look at where they are headed.
Well, it turned out to be a chilly day for us today, but definitely warmer than what we did see yesterday. And we had quite a bit of sunshine actually through the morning hours. And then we got some cumulus clouds during the afternoon. But all in all, a decent day, just well below where we should be for this time of the year. Cold start. You can see kind of foggy in the dew and the frost across the region early this morning. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, 55 today, but look at our average high, 72. We creep up a little bit tomorrow near 60, but still should be into lower 70s. We will get there in a few days. Chilly again. We're at 39 in Stockton, 46 Anderson, 46 in Miami. We have Parsons also into the mid 40s, but everybody's going to drop back near freezing once again later on tonight. So that's why we have frost and freeze advisories in effect across the region, and hopefully this is the last night that we have to deal with that really for the spring season as we almost roll into May here in just a couple weeks, or actually just a little over a week. All right, some clouds starting to build on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side, and we're going to see partly cloudy skies tonight. This is ahead of our next storm system, and then the clouds are really going to thicken for us tomorrow. But you can see this storm system out across the Rockies, and it's this system that is going to head toward us over the next few days. You can see the little twist and the upper level winds out across western parts of Utah. So this is going to start to affect us tomorrow night or afternoon, actually late afternoon into the evening, and then last into Saturday morning. So cold start, frosty, clouds increase all day, but most of the day is going to be dry. We will start to see chances for showers increasing late afternoon. 33 to start, 53 by noon. High temp right around 60, south winds at about 5 to 10. You can see the showers starting to pick up. Tomorrow evening, we'll get a burst of showers through the evening hours. A little bit of a lull after midnight. Picks up again by daybreak on Friday. Periods of rain Friday morning, and then Friday afternoon, we'll get periods of showers and thunderstorms across the region. Some of these could be strong. I think the best chance for severe weather is going to stay to our south and to our west across central parts of Oklahoma, but some of these could pack a punch. If we add anything strong, it would mainly be some small hail and some gusty winds. Very heavy amounts of rain. You can see the bands continue to work through into early Saturday morning, and then we'll finally get to dry out for a couple days. But rainfall amounts, quite a bit actually. A lot of areas going to pick up 1, 2, maybe 2.5 inches of rain with this next storm system. But it rolls out Saturday morning. Sunday looks good. Monday looks good. We really warm up. And then Tuesday is our next storm system that could give us showers and thunderstorms and also a severe threat. 59 tomorrow, 64 Friday, 63 Saturday, up to 74 on Sunday.
More than ready for the warmer temperatures, just not ready at all for that severe weather.
Yeah, I know. They kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, I know. All right, Doug. Thanks so much as always. Don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch Weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store, Google Play Store as well. Just search for KOAM Skywatch Weather app. Coming up in sports, Lamar High School celebrating their state championship win with a ring ceremony today. Plus, Missouri Southern softball having a chance to make a statement in the MIAA with a doubleheader against Washburn. Danny Terzer has it all next.
Last fall, Lamar High School raised the Class II state championship trophy. Today, the football team is holding their ring ceremony to celebrate and recognize the achievement. The Tigers topped St. Pius in a 6-3 defensive battle to claim the 2020 state championship, their 8th championship in program history. It was also the program's first year under head coach and Lamar alum Jared Beshore.
To be able to create that energy again and bring this program back to the top, there's no greater feeling. Looking back at these rinks today, it was just everything came flooded in, so it was awesome.
Never gets old. These things never get old, so it was exciting, and it's a moment I'll always remember.
The 2013 Missouri Southern softball team begins an 8-game homestand today to finish off their regular season. First up, the Lions host Washburn for a pair of games. In Game 1, first inning, Ashton Friend. This is deep center. Solo home run for Friend. Ichabod's strike first. Bottom 1, Josie Topai with a base hit. That brings in Michaela Leinhart to tie it up. Next inning, Ashlyn Williams in the right corner for a double. Kristen Wade scores and the Lions take a 2-1 lead. The Lions will carry the lead for the rest of the game. Missouri Southern wins 9-5. In Game 2, Missouri Southern gets the sweep. Sydney Hurst gets a triple that drives in 3 runs. That helps lift the Lions to a 6-3 victory over the Ichabods. The Carthage Tigers travel to Joplin today for a COC matchup. Both these teams coming off losses in which they produced just 1 run. More offense today, though. In the third, Clay Kinder caught between the bases here. Joplin decides to throw home. Caden Cabans beats it, and Carthage takes the lead. Then, passed ball. Kinder from third takes off for home. He's safe. It's 3-1 Tigers. Next inning, Bodie Carlson with a grounder for the Eagles. Carson Wampler scores, and now we've got a tie game. The draw will hold for the next 4 innings, but Joplin breaks it in the 9th, pulling out the 4-3 win. In Major League Baseball tonight, both the Cardinals and the Royals finish up series today. St. Louis split their first 2 games of their series with the Nationals. The Cardinals can get back to 500 with a win today. St. Louis loads the bases in the first. Scherzer strikes out the next 2 batters to get out of the jam. Then in the second, a deep shot here. Josh Bell goes all the way around to home and scores. Nats up 1-0. Skipping to the 8th now, bases loaded for the Cards again. Matt Carpenter hits it hard, but not enough. St. Louis goes down 1-0. As for the Royals, they're sitting at the top of the Central Division, but have dropped their first 2 games to the Rays. In the final game of the series, the Royals get busy in the 7th. A triple and a home run drives in 4 runs. Kansas City takes a 7-6 lead heading into the 8th inning. We'll be back with more news after this.
Frequent social media use may not meet the traditional definition of an addiction. Scottish researchers conducted an experiment and found participants who reported frequent use were no more likely to have their attention drawn to a social media app than less frequent users. Well, a sonata can lead to better shut-eye. An analysis in the Journal of American Geriatrics Society found older adults who listened to music before hitting the hay had significantly better sleep quality than those who did not listen to music. A vacation was just a dream for many people last year because of this pandemic, but with vaccinations accelerating, Americans are making up for lost time. Tanya Bacchus reports.
At airports nationwide,
looking for some fun in the sun.
People are taking off, many for their first vacation since the pandemic started.
We've been just cooped up in the house for too long right now, so just excited to get out.
And the great getaway is expected to continue through the summer months. A new survey from The Points Guy finds half of U.S. adults are likely to take at least one vacation between June and September.
A lot of them are planning on spending a pretty significant amount of money. In fact, over more than 4 out of 10 are actually anticipating spending more than $1,000 on these vacations.
But many won't be spending that money on plane tickets.
Nearly half of those traveling plan to take a road trip, and beaches are one of the most popular places to go.
But national parks are the top destination.
There's going to be a huge demand for visiting these attractions, so make sure you do your research and lock in those plans early because they're just going to get more and more filled up as we approach the summer.
Nick Ewan from The Points Guy says those traveling internationally will likely need to provide a negative COVID test.
Make sure you understand what it's going to take for you to get in and then what it's going to take for you to get back to the United States. And bear in mind, a lot of those things can change on a dime as case counts go up or go down.
Ewan says no matter where you travel, it's important to do your research and plan ahead.
All right, a preview of the new Mortal Kombat movie when we come back. A blockbuster video game franchise heads to the screens this week, bringing an intense, action-packed movie viewing option. It's time for Mortal Kombat. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has a preview with its stars.
The fate of Earth is in our hands.
Mortal Kombat unleashes a reboot of fan-favorite characters, brutal game-inspired battles, and a new story of an MMA fighter finding his place in defending the Earthrealm from the Outworld.
There's like a long legacy that goes along with playing in a movie like this, of this caliber, that you can't really live it down.
It's not a birthmark, Cole.
Being fans of the game adds to the movie-making experience.
Name's Jax.
I'm Jax. This is crazy. And here I am fighting Sub-Zero. This is crazy. I used to dress up like Scorpion for Halloween. It's something that we've taken onto our shoulders, and I think we're going to carry the fandom into a new era at a new level with this.
They take that stunt work to a new level too.
Was there one stunt or type of stunt work that you did where you even surprised yourself that you were able to do it? And you're like, okay, add that to the skill set.
That's a good question. There's so many different crazy action scenes in this film. You know, I mean, I could go on forever about them. But there's one moment I know for sure that is different for me, and I haven't told anybody this before. So when we did the reshoots, we came out of quarantine and got to set, and they were like, "Okay, you're good, right? So put on a harness, and we're gonna show you this wire stunt, and you're gonna lie on the floor here, and then you're gonna fly 40 feet this way into the dirt on the floor. You're dizzy, you're delirious about, you know, being out in the real world for the first time, and immediately I'm launched on this thing."
Find Mortal Kombat in theaters and HBO Max April 23rd. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Good to know that in front of the camera they can add a six-pack to you. Hint, hint, production people. That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of penguins at the Shed Aquarium in Chicago, getting ready for nesting season. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.